We continue to look at the 2A state championship game. It's the first game on Saturday this weekend at 10 a.m. as the Lovell Bulldogs will rematch against the Lyman Eagles. Pleased to be joined by head coach Nicc Crosby. And coach, first of all, thank you so much for time. But second, congratulations in the championship game for the first time in a few years for Lovell. How does it feel? What's the atmosphere been like around the program and the community coming off last Friday?
Oh, the community is really excited. And as a program, we're awfully pleased with the progress that we've been making. And this year in and of itself has been a work in progress. So we're glad. Seems like we're peaking at the right time, and hopefully we can continue to play good football on Saturday.
Speaking of good football, you guys had to play a whale of a game. We talked last week on the phone. You had some concerns about if you could slow down that Torrington pass offense, but I got to see some of the game, not all of it. What did you take away from your team's win at Torrington in the semifinals last Friday night?
Just an outstanding team effort. We worked together with our staff and with the players, watching a lot of film, trying to put together a game plan, because that was quite a challenge to slow those guys down. They're very well coached. They have a lot of tremendous athletes. And, sometimes you're putting together your game plan and it sounds really good, and then you go out and it's not executed very well. But we were all on the same page. The kids were in the right spots. And we were able to make things difficult for Torrington. And then offensively, we were able to put together enough drives to kind of distance ourselves. We were able to control the clock, which really benefited us. And I think probably helped keep them a little bit out of rhythm too. So all of those things, and just a really good attitude by our players, really good team chemistry, I think, came together for a great night for the Bulldogs.
Well, and speaking of taking a team out of rhythm, when you go on like a 20-play, 9-minute drive to start the game, that's got to be pleasing to you as a head coach. Yeah.
I've been on the other side of that before when a team's able to do that, and I know how frustrating it can be. It's a lot more fun to be on the side we were on Friday, and I'm just really proud of our guys being able to chip away, take care of the ball, just do enough to get some first downs and then finally break through. But absolutely, that was a great way for us to start, getting the 3 and out from them right away, and being able to eat up a bunch of clock and get a touchdown was tremendous for us.
We've talked a couple of times this season, and I know your group, while you do have some young guys, had some higher expectations coming into this year. Tell me, from your perspective, how did you get to this spot, the championship game? What did it take to get here?
I really feel like the loss to Lyman early in the season was a really big turning point for our team. Obviously, they're a great team. That's why they're playing for the championship 2 years in a row here. But it really helped us see the things that we needed to work on. And I feel like as a staff and as players, we recognized those things. We embraced our weaknesses, and we worked really hard to turn some things around. We had lots of different adversities throughout the year, not just the loss to Lyman, but all those things I think have really brought us together as a group. We have a great group of seniors who've really led the way. Talk about leading by example. These guys are the epitome of that. And the underclassmen have just followed their lead and go to work each day, work hard, have the right attitude. And anyway, it's turned out to be an exceptional season for us, and we're really excited about the progress that we've made as a program, like I said earlier, but also throughout the season. To be able to respond to that early loss the way we did says a lot about our kids.
Talk about your offensive defensive line, because every time I talk with somebody else about the Lovell Bulldogs, the first thing they bring up is, boy, are they big. They got size. I don't know how you phrase it. Your big uglies, whatever you call them, your hogs, going back to Washington back in the 80s and their offensive. What do you look at when you see your offensive defensive line guys?
I see guys that have put in a ton of time in the weight room. Our starting center, he was showing me pictures before I got here when he was a freshman, and seeing him now, it's just tremendous. So yeah, they're big, but they've put in a lot of time and effort to get that way. But they're also really, really smart. I mean, these kids are getting over 30s on their ACTs. Some of them, they're really smart. They're really tight knit, like I was saying earlier, and they're hungry. You know, to have the quarterback situation that we have this year with a big question mark there. These guys have just kept us rolling. We've had some injuries in the backfield, and it just doesn't matter. They just keep blocking. We try to scheme up some different ways to attack our opponent. And anyway, it's worked out really well. And then defensively, we're able to come at teams, not just with our starters, but we have some guys that come off the bench that give us some quality minutes. Okay. So I think being able to stay fresh is part of it too. And anyway, I think to play that way too, you really have to embrace it. In the Torrington game, one of our players was saying, man, what's it like to be a receiver on your team? And they embrace it. They're like, hey, it's great. We go down, we block, and we get yards, and we've been successful. So they've had the right mentality and approach too, and that's been outstanding to see.
You mentioned the Lyman game. Take me back to that game. What did you learn about your team, and what did you take away from that game?
Right off the bat, just the mentality. It was a really tight game in the first half, and we ran into some adversity, and we didn't respond well to it. We kind of let some things snowball, and I feel like our mentality really needed a change. And I talked to the kids about that. I grew up here in Lovell and take pride in this community. Moving back here, I've been wanting to see our community our school make some strides and be more successful. And I'm like, guys, we've got to change our mentality. If something goes bad, we've got to be able to bounce back from that. And so one of the takeaways from that is changing our mentality, being more disciplined. If something doesn't go your way, hey, you're going to get them the next time. And then we know that we certainly need to do a lot better job taking care of the ball. And I think that was our worst game turnover wise this year. And we've been doing a lot better job taking care of the ball this season. And then we have early in the year, we had some kids coming back from injuries, one coming back from COVID, and we had been moving some guys around. I think we've been able since then to solidify positions, and people are a lot more comfortable with their roles and their responsibilities. So I think those are some of the big takeaways from that loss. And I guess the other thing is that's a really good team. Mm-hmm. And one of the things we talked about is, hey, they're playing for state 2 years in a row. What are they doing well? What do we need to do to be more like them? And we've learned some things based on how they carry themselves and how they play hard to the whistle. They take care of the ball. And they don't beat themselves. You really have to go out and beat them. So it was a great learning experience for our guys. And I think that shows being able to have an opportunity to play them again at this point.
Yeah. What do you kind of expect this second time around from Coach Anderson's bunch?
Oh boy. Well, I'm sure Coach Anderson and his staff are going to do some of the same, but I know that they have a few wrinkles that they're going to throw at us that we need to be prepared for. I know from any of those teams, they're going to play hard. They're going to block to the whistle. I expect a pretty good battle. You know, like I say, and I think Dale said this as well. That game, the first game, was a lot closer than the final score indicated. Some of our turnovers kind of got us in a bad spot a few times there. So I think it's going to be a nice tight game. Boy, I'm excited for the opportunity to be there. And I know that our boys are going to be ready to play. And I know that they're going to be ready to play too. So it's going to be a good game for the fans to watch. Should be very entertaining.
Speaking of which, it's been a while since Lovell's been in the championship. I did a little research, and I think the superintendent, Doug Hazen, was the coach last time Lovell was in the championship. So you guys haven't been here in a while. Some of these kids may have been here for other things, but and I've asked this question of every coach, how do you get your team to not be so awestruck of their surroundings and the championship game atmosphere and realizing the pressure that goes with that? How do you get them to just settle in and play football, Nicc?
Oh, that's a great question. You know, we've tried a few things. I thought about the old Hoosiers movie and see if we need to get a tape measure down on the field and show them that it's still 100 yards long or something like that. I think being down there the day before and getting a feel for the field, watching some of those other games that are taking place on Friday will be huge. One of the things that does give some confidence is how we've been able to perform on the road. And I know this is a neutral site, but I feel like the mentality that we went to Cokeville with our last game of the regular season, and then this past week to Torrington, I think a lot of those same things, just the preparation, keeping as much the same as you can, and then focusing on the things that are within our control. Obviously, the stadium, the crowd size, all those things, those are out of our control. But knowing our job, communicating, our effort, all those things are within our control. So we're going to try to focus on those things and let the chips fall where they may.
I got you. All right. So what are some of your biggest keys then? I mean, again, I always tell coaches, I'm not looking for your game plan or anything, or for you to unveil something you don't want, but what do you think has to happen for you guys to be successful Saturday morning?
Well, for us, we first of all have to take care of the ball better, like I mentioned earlier. We've got to see if we can force some turnovers. I think last time we forced one against them and we weren't able to turn that into points. So take advantage of those turnovers ourselves. We need to do a better job of getting in good field position. Last time they really won the field position battle. And then defensively, obviously, Housekeeper is a tremendous athlete. He's been just running all over the place, scoring touchdowns. And so we certainly have to find ways that we can contain him. But the last time we played, he had his best passing game as well. So we're going to need to make sure that we shore up our assignments in the passing game. Just try to find a good balance there. And then offensively, I think we're going to need to be able to mix some things up a little bit. I know that they're studying our film and know a lot of our tendencies. So I think we're going to have to maybe break tendency a little bit and see if we can get them out of position and hopefully be able to move the ball. It'd be great to be able to control the clock like we've been able to the last couple of weeks. But we might have to see if we can be a little bit creative and score in some other ways as well.
How do you handle the early start time? There's not a lot of kickoffs at 10 a.m. in high school football in this state. So how do you handle that?
I know. Well, we hope to get down there, like I said, early on Friday and give us an opportunity to be able to get to bed early that night. And then have everything ready to go for breakfast so we're not waiting on anybody or anything.
Right.
These kids, most of them, honestly, it's interesting when we've been on the road, a lot of them are used to being in bed 8 or 9 at night. And so that really hasn't been that big of an issue. And we've done a lot of early morning stuff. So they're pretty used to getting up early. And then I think just with what's at stake, once we get there, I think those competitive juices will get flowing, the adrenaline will get flowing, and that'll take care of itself.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, this is like a drop in the bucket for you guys. I mean, you got to Cokeville, you went to Mountain View, is that right? And now to Torrington. So this is another drop in the bucket, I guess, for long road trips this year for Lovell.
Yeah, we're used to this by now. So,
well, you know what? I think it's gonna be a great game. Nicc, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck against Lyman Saturday morning.
Sure, appreciate it. Thanks so much.